I have been a photographer my entire life. I first started with a pink and green Barbie Polaroid camera, and I have shot Polaroid, Canon, Fuji, Nikon, but for the last 12 years I have been shooting exclusively on Sony bodies. So this video is going to talk about the bodies and lenses that we have selected and the $40,000 worth of Sony gear that we have invested in the last 12 years. And this video is not sponsored. This is purely just...
Oh yeah.
This is just us talking about the gear that we have.
No,
so.
We gave Sony money. They didn't give us money.
That's valid.
So as you can see, we have a variety of Sony cameras here, even up to something like the FX6. You talked about photography. Obviously, we do more than photography here. I usually handle all the video. She usually handles the photo side. I enjoy photography, but not as much as you. I just really don't get into it. Video is definitely my world. So, yeah. Where did you start with Sony? Because we did not start in the video side in Sony, but we ended somewhere else, but we'll get to that at the end. But majority of our video side was Sony. But where did you start on the Sony side?
Okay, on the Sony side, I started with this little body right here. This is the Sony A230. This is a 10 megapixel DSLR, like traditional DSLR camera. I bought this off of Facebook Marketplace. My mom found someone in our local area that was selling this along with, this was the kit lens at the time. This is an 18 to 55, and then it's got a fisheye Polaroid extender on here as well. But it came with this, and it came with this Tamron 70 to 300. And I bought all of this together for, I think it was about $150.
I remember thinking that was a lot at the time, but it's still a really good deal.
Well, it was a lot at the time for a 16-year-old that was spending her part-time Subway checks on this, so.
This thing, I don't know if you can hear, it just sounds like a toy. It feels like a toy, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
The grip is nice. The grip is nice,
yeah.
But this thing feels
old. So Austin did some research for me. Actually, he went with me whenever we bought this one. Do you remember that? 2012. Yeah. We met a random stranger in the Burger King parking lot.
Yeah. And
picked this up. So this was my first little kit right here.
And that is Emount. You said that,
yes,
right?
Yep.
Emount.
Emount. Sony Emount.
Emount did not exist at this time.
It did not. This was 2012, which this was a used camera whenever I bought it. So I don't even know when this camera first came out, but I got it in 2012. So here's that. But as I went to art school and I started taking photography and design classes, I realized I needed an upgrade. So Austin found, this was the A77 Mark II, and this was my second Sony camera.
I forgot about that one.
I loved this camera. This camera took me a lot of places. This is what I started doing weddings on, too.
Full HD movie.
Right there. I was super overwhelmed with this camera. Like, well, all the buttons on it, you can see, I was not used to that. But the fact that this one had a screen on it also was a really big deal for me. Like, the screen? Yeah, the screen on top.
Oh, on top, yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, so this one actually got me through, that's where we started really expanding a lot of our A-mount lenses.
Yeah.
A lot of them. So we'll go into lenses in a minute. So my next camera body that we upgraded from 77 Mark II was the 99 Mark II.
This was huge.
Yes,
99
it was.
Mark II.
I saved and saved and saved and saved and saved and prepared for this camera. That was the first time. I bought it brand new. It was a brand new camera.
No one's probably heard of this.
No, probably not. So this camera, the A99 Mark II, came out in 2016. It was released in 2016. I bought it in like a few months after it released, but it was like early 2017. And this camera, it had a similar screen to what the A77 did, where it kind of rotates around and you can flip it backwards and everything, and it still flips over just like that. But this was a high megapixel camera. So the A77 Mark II was a 24 megapixels, and that this one, the A99 Mark II, is a 43 megapixel camera. So this one was the A-mount version of the A7R Mark II. It came out a year after the A7R Mark II.
Was it the 2 or 3?
The 2.
It was 2, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like this was the final, they called it the final hoorah to A-mount.
Yes.
They were done.
So for me, I was ready for an upgrade. I wanted the high megapixels, but I was so invested in A-mount lenses, which I will show off my A-mount lenses in a second here, but I was so invested in A-mount lenses that, and I was afraid of mirrorless, because first of all, I did not like the mirrorless bodies. I liked how big these were. They were bulky. It felt important, like walking around with this, holding it. Like I loved the feeling of a classic DSLR. I was not ready to switch to a mirrorless camera.
Okay, so
the A99 Mark II, something that made this camera super unique, and I don't know of any other cameras that do this, is to fixed mirror, translucent mirror.
Which, I don't know if it was the only one of its kind.
See that.
Are there any other cameras that ever did that?
Not that I know of. Maybe, but not
And
that I know
what was the
of.
purpose of it? I didn't really understand what the purpose of that was.
I don't know. I don't know what the purpose was, but it's cool. I don't know if any other cameras would do that.
Something to do with the viewfinders, what I thought.
I have no idea.
Okay.
This one was 4K, and we would use this as a second camera with your 6500 pretty frequently, especially while we were doing weddings, because you would be running around with the 6500 and the GH4. Or did you have Blackmagic at the time too?
Nope, I didn't make. Well, at some point I did.
Yeah.
But no, I had the GH4 and the 6500 where I was adapting FD lenses.
Oh yeah,
we did not have a lot of E-mount lenses.
Yeah.
This is my first step into Sony. Then went from Panasonic GH4. And we don't have it with us in front of us because I gave it to my brother has the A6500 now along with some lenses. But the A6500 was my step into the Sony video world because at that time, if anybody was around video during the 6000 series time, Sony was really killing it in the video world and there really was no competition. I mean, there was competition, but Sony just had log formats were big, S-Log2, S-Log3, and then the 6500 was like one of the first compact cameras with S-Log2 and S-Log3, even though I'm not gonna get into that. S-Log3 was almost useless in 8-bit, but just having a Super 35 size sensor for me at that time was a huge upgrade because I was coming from Micro Four Thirds. Making that investment was where I started to join. That was the first E-mount camera. Was 6500. Okay.
Yep.
So I had this. I was thinking you ended up with E-mount first.
Nope, you did.
So yeah, I just dug us deeper in that.
Yeah.
So then I had the 6500 for video mainly. You didn't use it for photo, did we? We were doing weddings at the time.
I did a few, not too much. We would mainly take it as you would use it as a second camera whenever we were doing photo shoots, but that didn't last very long.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Anyway, this was the very last A-mount camera, so I knew buying this going into it that there's nothing else after this. I would have to switch to a mirrorless camera at some point. So.
Yeah, we weighed that out for a while, looking at the R and that.
Yeah.
But then you had so many A-mount lenses.
I was scared to go to mirrorless because it was so new at the time that it was like I didn't know. There were a lot of unknowns, and we were so invested in these A-mount lenses. Very, very invested.
Yeah,
in them.
when mirrorless first came around, the newer lenses were more expensive for the new mounts.
Yeah. So then we jumped. I'm gonna move this out of the way. Then we jumped to the A7R, and this is the R3 actually. And this is what I still shoot on today. I've had this camera for 5 years now, I think, and yeah, I'm still shooting on it, and I still love it, and it holds up. It's an awesome camera.
It is very underrated even right now.
43 megapixels also.
Even on the video side, it is 8-bit in S-Log2. I mean, I've used this even recently on some multicam shoots.
I know exactly what that means. I'm just kidding. I don't know anything about video. S-Log, 8-bit.
Oh. Well, it's still, I mean, it's better than your phone. It's a full-frame sensor. And an amazing photo
I would hope
camera.
it's better than your phone.
Well, I mean, even now.
Yeah.
Even now.
True. But the So the A99 Mark II came out at the same time, well, a year later than the A7R Mark II. So this is the A7R Mark III. So this was even an upgrade from the A99. And when I got this, Austin already had a few E-mount lenses, and I was able to adapt. I actually have this adapter here. It's on my 70 to 200 right now. I have an adapter for E-mount to A-mount. But these two, the 99, whenever we were doing weddings, I would take the 99 with the 70 to 200, and I would have the A7R with, we have a Sigma 24 to 70. And that is what got me through most of the weddings that we ever did. Like, we shot a lot of weddings, and that's what got us through most of it. So
we were doing photo and video.
Yes. So I would run around with, I have a dual harness, and I would have my 99 with the 70 to 200, which is a heavy set. It's a very heavy combo right there. But I would have that, and then the A7R Mark III with the 24 to 70 on it.
And I would have been on my 6500, the T2i. Never filmed a wedding. I may have used it for some time lapses, and that was it. But I remember there were some moments where you were grabbing some video clips for me.
Yeah, with both of these. Yeah.
And then I would have been on the 6500 and the Panasonic GH4 at the same time. At some point I went Blackmagic because we were going into corporate. We were doing corporate films, and I ended up getting 2 Blackmagics. And I know I had 2 Blackmagics and a 6500 on some of our weddings, and I was trying to mix all that. But I remember at one point, you started getting some E-mount lenses for the A7R.
Yes.
That was it. You had the A-mount, you had the adapter to adapt A-mount to E-mount.
Yeah.
And then the Sony, this is actually last.
Yeah, so here. Let's go through what bodies you've got here. So we've got, I went from the A230 to the 77 Mark II to the 99 Mark II to the A7R Mark III. And then we had the 6500 between these two. And then what have you got over here?
Well, there would have been the Blackmagic, whatever, we don't need to show it.
No, yeah, we're talking about Sony. It's Sony. It's a Sony day.
Well, obviously you can see Sony has been a majority of what we've done. Blackmagic was there for a moment. And I ended up, it was well, sorry, it's been right here the whole time. Before this, we bought this. The video side started picking up. We were taking it way more serious. The FX6 was just announced. The Sony FX6. If you're familiar with it, you know what it is. It's an amazing full frame cinema camera with some of the best autofocus on the market at the time, and arguably still right now. This was announced the same time as the red Komodo was announced. And coming from Blackmagic, and we were doing more methodical shoots, more corporate films. I don't know if we were transitioning out of weddings yet. I feel like we were at this time.
Yeah, we were.
I bought this, and I knew we had some weddings to wrap up on the books. And having the option of something I could rig up to do the bigger shoots, the more commercial shoots, and also rig up for run-and-gun documentary stuff. There's really nothing better than the Sony FX6 with the internal NDs. But I wanted to go Komodo at that time, but I did not because of our investment so far in the E-mount. With my 6500, your R, and all your A-mount glass that can be adapted to E-mount, I felt like this was a better choice. So we ended up with the Sony FX6. So I had a Sony FX6. I was still using my Blackmagics, and I had my 6500. I know at one point I sold one of my Blackmagics. Still have a Blackmagic, so I was using the FX6 and the Blackmagic Pocket 4K were my main 2 cameras. Over time, I was getting upset of trying to match the Blackmagic image with Sony. They were just different. I wouldn't say one's necessarily better than the other, it's preference, but matching them was a pain, and this was the direction I was going. So that leads us to, well, I was going to buy another Sony camera, but I didn't want to spend another $6,000 on another FX6. FX3 is still, I think, like $4,000. That would be the better option. People always ask me why to get FX3. Well, I went Sony A7 IV because it was the cheapest full frame camera with S-Log3 and 10-bit color. So both of these can do S-Log3 at 10-bit. That was what I was looking for. S-Log3, 10-bit, full frame. That's all I wanted. This checked all those boxes. I bought it. That's all I needed it for, was just a B cam to this. Is it the best B cam? No. Is it the cheapest B cam? I think so. So.
And you have a whole video on that too, don't you?
Yeah, I have a whole video on why I made this purchase of B cam to this, because people go, why didn't you get the FX3? Or why didn't you get an FX30? The FX30 is still more. I thought about going FX30, but I was real weird about mixing crop and full frame. I wanted to have the option. That was an issue I ran into with this though. This, I don't get into the details about this, but this only has crop mode in 1080p, and you can't utilize the 4K readout on it. And it made a lot of our crop lenses useless, so I wasn't using them much. And so we started going on the full frame rabbit hole on the expensive glass on that. So this has been the juggernaut. Really not these two cameras here, the photo side, right?
Yep.
And the video side, have been running our business. Yeah, fueling our lives, keeping everything going.
Yeah.
So don't regret it. Great cameras, all of them. People probably wonder why the heck do you not sell this stuff when you upgrade?
I love them. Why would I sell them? No.
Yeah.
But I mean, a big reason is we've always had a need for another body. That's the biggest reason. Is every upgrade that we've made, we've always had a reason to keep the previous one next to it.
Yeah.
And then by the time that we outgrow it, it's like it's not worth anything anyway. So. Like, who's gonna buy an A99 Mark II right now?
Somebody might.
They don't go for... Yeah, I would be that person. I would be the one to buy the 99 Mark II, and I've got it right here, so why would I sell it? Like...
So, the only camera I've sold to, so I get the sentiment. There's, like, sentimental chapters.
Yeah, this... I love looking at this, and I'm like, this is... That's my photography career,
Is it the smartest path? No, but it's the balance of when it's your passion and your job. What's next here?
All right.
Into lenses?
Yep. Let's get into lenses. So I'm going to move all these to the side. And first, we're going to talk about A-mount lenses.
Yeah, let's go Emount.
All right. Okay, moving all my bodies out of the way.
You want to edit this?
Here you go. Yeah, I'll edit it. Okay, so up first, I already talked about, this is the 18-55, the old A-mount kit lens right there. And then we had this little guy. Actually, no, we're gonna go with this one. This is the Minolta 50, and Austin bought me this as a graduation gift whenever I graduated from high school in 2014. He gave it to me in the high school parking lot, and I was like, what would I do with this? It doesn't zoom. I didn't understand what a prime was. I didn't want it.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Well, it's like, it's the nifty 50. You throw a 50 on your first time with a 50 changes everything.
Oh yeah, it did. It absolutely did. But this camera, or this lens, has a built-in lens hood, which I always thought was interesting.
That is cool.
Too.
I do wish more lenses did that.
I don't know how well you guys can all see that little built-in, teeny tiny little lens hood. This nifty 50 did a whole bunch of senior photos and family portraits and stuff, so that went everywhere with me on my 77. So that little guy. Then I got this lovely lens is Sigma 10-20. This is not a full frame lens. This is a crop lens. So once I upgraded, it kind of became somewhat useless to me. Still used it sometimes, but yeah, still had to crop it pretty often. So I'm gonna sit. Okay. I'm not sure what you're doing over there.
I'm starting on this side of the frame, going down.
Okay. All right, so I had that. And then my dad got me this lens. This is also a Minolta lens, and I really hate this one too. It's the weirdest, jankiest lens. So it's a 28. It's a 28-105. You can see here. It's a 28-105. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's an awful. I need to clean that. But anyway, it's 28-105, and it's an electronic zoom. So it's all internal, but this is an A-mount lens also. It's so heavy. And I think I used it once. I didn't like the quality, and I could not figure out, because the zoom is, it doesn't feel natural. It has like maybe a 2 centimeter throw on that.
I don't know. It's kind of like a zoom rocker. If you've ever used it like a rocker on some Sony lenses have, or like a servo zoom. But it's in the ring, and the ring is just like it's not even a quarter turn, is it?
No,
it's like
it's so minimal. Yeah. And it's the f-stop on this is it's a 1.6 to 3.3.
Which
is the weirdest lens.
It's very strange. The focal length is actually really nice though.
Yeah, a 28 to 105 is nice,
to 105 would be awesome. If that could be like an f4 all the way through.
It's just such a weird lens.
It's full frame.
So I want to keep it because it's weird,
Yeah.
but I think I used it once. So there's that. And then we have this little Sony 50. Little Sony Emount 50. So I went from the Minolta 50 to this little Sony 50, and this was a 1.8. Nope, 2.8. This is the 85. This is not my 50.
I was gonna say, I think that's the
yeah, this is the 85. Yeah.
Do you have a 50 mount?
In your hands.
No,
That
just
one.
a
Yeah, no, I don't have a Sony one. So yeah, anyway, so Sony 85. And after I got this, I almost never used that 50.
The 85?
Almost never. Yeah.
I love that's a 2.8 though, ain't it?
Yeah, this is 2.8.
85 2.8, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I really liked that lens for video whenever I had to use your mount.
Look how dusty that is. That's a dusty lens.
We gotta get a cabinet or something.
Yeah,
Did you see? I don't know if that showed up on camera.
It's awful. Okay, so 50, 10 to 20, 18 to 55, 28 to 105, 85 prime. And then over here, is this one? Nope, that one's E-mount. This one's E-mount. This one's E-mount. And then here comes the fun Tamron one. So this is the 70 to 300 I talked about earlier. It's a 4 to 5.6. Then I upgraded that to this bad boy. Tamron 70 to 200, 2.8 all the way through. This is an A-mount lens. And it's a beautiful A-mount lens. I love that lens. This is all my A-mount glass. But to jump to E-mount, let's just stick to that 70 to 200 theme. I just made this upgrade a few days ago, and I should have made this a heck of a lot sooner. But we got the 70 to 200 G Master. This is the Mark 1, not the Mark 2, because I didn't want to spend the extra.
Do you want to move all this stuff over and get an E-mount?
We can, but I wanted to show the progression of the 70 to 300, 70 to 200 A-mount, and then 70 to 200 G Master E-mount. Look at that fun progression. And then we'll move out these out of the way.
If there's anybody, first off, you made it this far in this video.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. If you're enjoying this, let us know. This is probably a long ranty video, but
is this one?
Is what it is.
Yeah, that one's.
So if you have A-mount, or if shooting A-mount, or if you still have A-mount, let us know in the comments below. I think you're the only one with A-mount. Okay.
I'm the only person in the world that has A-mount.
Probably.
Austin says,
all right.
So
E-mount.
okay.
Let's go through our E-mount lenses here.
So E-mount. I already said the 70 to 200. This is our newest.
Yeah.
The newest edition. This is my new baby. I haven't even taken it out yet. We got it a few days ago, and
yeah.
I haven't. No, wait. Yeah, we did. We shot the Redemption Ranch stuff on it. Some non.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Shot some non-profit stuff. Maybe we'll throw some of those photos up here. But yeah.
It's up to you. You're editing.
Yeah, I'm editing this, so we'll see.
So
this is gonna be chaos. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So there's that. And we have a Sigma 24-70, which this is my everything lens.
That lens, it is also my everything lens.
Yes.
We fight over this lens a lot. This is because it's
probably
so
buy a
good.
second one.
We really should, or there's the new Sony G20.
Yeah.
There's a few other options for this. This is the Mark 1, not the Mark 2.
Okay, so 24-70. And we've got this little Sony E-mount 50. It's a 1.8. This is the FE. So
it's like the cheapest one you can get.
It's so lightweight. Like this lens feels like nothing.
It's a toy.
Yeah. It's very cheap.
It's okay lens, but yeah.
Yeah, it's good. But you can tell a big quality difference with that G Master 50, which was supposed to be a temporary purchase.
Yeah.
Austin bought this for one thing, and then I fell in love with it, and I wouldn't let him sell it.
I had a project where I needed to rent it a few times, and because we were doing like a documentary shoot, and it was going to be over the course of a few months. I wanted the 35 G Master because it's my favorite focal length, but we ended up needing a 50 for a few things, so we chose 50. Instead of renting it, I said, I'll buy it and sell it in 3 months because it's cheaper than renting it for 3 months. But that's when you fell in love with it, and we had it. And this is not the 51.2, this is the 1.4. When this was announced, it was a lot cheaper, and I think it looks just as good as the 1.2. Maybe we'll upgrade to 1.2. Maybe we won't.
I don't know, but now I use this 50, and I'm about to start using the 70-200 for all of our portrait photo shoots that we do. Like this is gonna be my kit right here for everything.
I kind of want to get rid of the 50 though and get an 85 prime and a 35.
We're gonna get rid of this? This one?
No, I guess not.
No.
Okay.
No, we're not.
Guess it's staying.
This is mine.
Okay.
All right. What do you got over there?
We ready for these here?
Yep. This is
well,
this all I've got.
Like I said, I'm missing a few lenses because I gave them to my brother at the time. He has a Sigma Art 30mm, which goes on 6500. That is a crop lens. He has the 16-50. My Panasonic. We're not talking about this. It's just Sony. I guess we'll start with the. I don't own a lot of autofocus E-mount lenses because I don't always shoot autofocus lenses. But crop lens is the 18-105. I bought this for one of our first corporate films and ended up using that Sigma 30 more than this. But this 18-105 f4 all the way through. More recently, I just bought for some other shoots we had because I wanted that 35 G Master, but all that money's in the 50, so I bought the FE version of the 35 1.8. I've been really happy with that lately. It's small, but it's not. It does not feel like the 50 FE here. This feels like a toy. Oh yeah, it feels nothing like it. This is actual metal.
Oh yeah, there's a.
So I was happy with
big
that.
Difference.
I expected it to feel just like that, but I love that lens still. I'm really enjoying it. But one of my first investments on the FX6 side, I started to want to dip my toes back into narrative filmmaking. So I've always been a huge fan of the vintage look. I've always used the FD lenses, which we have. I have adapters for those Canon FD old vintage lenses. I like that look. I use Pro Mist filters usually on all of these photo glasses to try to soften them up because I think they're a little too sharp, too digital looking. So I bought the SLR Magic Micro Prime kit. I'm missing a few. I think I'm missing I think these are 24 in there, but I have the 18mm, the 35mm, the 50mm, and the 75mm. I love these lenses. I don't think a lot of people use them, but I think it's I mean, this is not a review video, but I think they have a vintage look and a modern body. But I also have, this is a fun lens that no one talks about, and I'm planning on doing a full review on this lens. This is an SLR Magic Hyper Prime. It is a full frame 50mm f1.1. I've used this on a couple shoots. It's not as big as these, which is surprising for f1.1 because these are T1.2s. But this thing is just nothing but glass, but it's tiny.
It's so small.
Full metal though. I mean, full metal. All of these SLR Magic lenses are solid. But 1.1 is insane for full frame. It's really, really dreamlike. I love that lens. But I wish I had like a set to use it, to use in like a full project. Then I wanted to get an anamorphic. I like anamorphic lenses. I have tons of filters to imitate it. The Polar Pro Blue Streak. I like the Helios vintage lenses because they have the swirly bokeh. So then I invested in the Sirui Venus anamorphic lenses. And I have the 35, the 50, 75 focal lengths on these. And they are all obviously E-mount. And I also got the 2x adapter to make these a 1.6 up to a 2x squeeze.
This is beefy.
Yes,
this is so heavy.
These are huge. So, and I actually want to get one of the longer lenses. I'm still not done completing this kit here. Yeah, I think that's all my email on the video side that we own is. So it's a lot. It's a lot we got there.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff.
We actually, yeah. I don't even want to mention the last one yet that we have shooting us now. Actually, our lens that's filming us now is the Viltrox 24mm, which it's okay. Just wanted a cheap 24 for YouTube for this exact reason.
So I think everything along our path, every upgrade that we've made has almost always been based on lenses because clearly you've seen we've got We have so many lenses here that are all Sony things that we already had a ton of great A-mount glass, and then we started stair-stepping into the E-mount, and then Austin was getting into the Cine lenses that are all, it's all E-mount stuff. So every camera body, we always had to take that into consideration. So that's why I've always been so heavily invested in Sony. I mean, I love Sony cameras, and I don't see myself changing maybe ever. I have no idea, but I love Sony. But that's kind of been the biggest deciding factor, and I think will always be a consideration moving forward. Is we're clearly invested here.
Well, on the video side, there was a lot of options I was wanting to move away from. I love Sony too. I got no problem against Sony. I love Sony. Would you call yourself a Sony fangirl?
At this point, probably. Yeah.
I like Sony, but a lot of these were either deals that made sense, just thinking of the business and the investments we were making at the time as we went. Obviously, this happened over a long period of time. Yeah. And then we looked back and we're like, oh, we're kind of in deep on E-mount here. So I even want to shift camera systems, but now I'm kind of stuck with E-mount. And if you don't know, E-mount is one of the few lens mounts that are really hard to mount to like anything else. You can mount a lot to Sony cameras, so Sony cameras are great for that reason. I don't know if we want to get into where we're at now. So way back down the timeline there, when I wanted that Komodo, it was the OG Komodo at the time, and I chose the FX6. I still wanted red. Red was something I wanted to get into. So
obviously, you're wearing the shirt right now.
Yeah, red. I'm a red fanboy. I will say that. But it's, I mean, I love all cameras really, but I wanted to make that jump into red. But red.
But here we are.
The Komodo was, I don't want to go too long on this, but the Komodo was RF mount, and you could have EF. We have some EF. These are all our Canon or our Sony lenses.
Yeah.
We have Canon, Panasonic, and FD
FDs,
vintage lenses. We have a lot of it. I'm looking at them over here, so I'm looking at them. But
I have old Canon film cameras also. So we do have.
So this is not all we own. This is just all the Sony mount. This is all A and E. So obviously I had to consider this. So when the red Komodo X was announced, I really wanted that, and we were gonna pull the trigger on that. It was RF, and I thought, well, I can get RF, I get EF, EF adapter to RF for now, and use my EF lenses, and I want to eventually start investing in PL lenses. But my plan was never to leave the FX6 because we have some work and clients that this makes sense for, especially on the autofocus side. But that puts the Cine glass in a weird spot. I could sell them, but these are not super easy to sell, and I don't know if I'd get all my money back I got for them. So it just kind of, it's not as simple as just buying the camera. Now it's like, okay, now I gotta put a bunch of stuff on Facebook and eBay and waste my time talking to people on the Facebook marketplace. And it's if you've done that, you know what I'm talking about. Well, then Nikon bought red. They put the Z mount on it. I found out recently you can adapt E mount to Z. And now when you look back at all this, like jumping into a red system, being able to use all the, I actually don't know about the A mount lenses yet.
Yeah, we need the A-mount lenses.
We pulled the trigger, and we are now we're shooting this video on the Komodo XZ right now using the Viltrox lens, which is kind of goofy to me. We're shooting a red camera with a cheap Viltrox lens, which it does okay. I
mean, the whole point was we were showing off all this stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Well, what's crazy too is this is autofocus. This whole time this has been autofocus on a face detect autofocus, and it looks like it's doing okay. We'll find out, I guess, in the edit, because we literally just got this today.
Yeah.
So now all of these options are gonna move forward with us in the future, because I think I'm gonna stick with red for a while at least, and at least the Z mount. So now looking into the video side of the business, the photo side, we don't have to split it, because if I went in a different system, I could sell the Cine lenses because you don't use those.
No.
These lenses that would be the easiest to sell, the most desired ones for majority of the market.
It's what I use.
Yeah. So. I can't get rid of them because you're using them. Yep. So that photo side would always be there from the E-mount. So it was like I could just sell everything and leave you and make you shift with me on the photo side. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll keep investing in E-mount. Now that we say this, once this video comes out, there's going to be like a Sony FX6 Mark II that I'm going to want. I don't think so. I think I'm going to be happy with my 16-bit red RAW files. Yeah.
So, we added all of this up, and at the time of purchase, everything on this table that we've just shown you all is $40,000 in on all this Sony stuff. So that's bodies and lenses. So that's not any kind of, that doesn't include adapters, filters, batteries, accessories. Like we have battery grips. We've got, it doesn't include any of that. That is straight up just everything that we showed you here today, plus the 6500 and the couple of lenses that are behind the camera right now. So
yeah.
Has it been worth it, would you say?
Well, for me, with the Z mount now, yes. If they did not go Z mount and I ended up getting RF mount for the Komodo, because even before I was pretty dead set I was gonna get a Komodo X, and I was kind of gonna take the loss on these, or not so much the loss, because again, I'm not selling my FX6. That wasn't on the table. That probably would solve a lot of stuff, but I love my FX6. This is still gonna be getting used, and it's gonna get used. Komodo is going to be for higher end projects, passion projects, narrative films we're going to get into. More stuff like that on this channel will be coming, and we have some stuff in the works on that currently.
Yeah. So $40,000 in over the course of 12 years. I will say that's not like we just dropped all of that at once. That has been 12 years in the making, but I think it's been worth it. It's built the foundation for our business. Like, we do have other cameras and things outside of that too, but I mean, we've been running our production company and a marketing agency using mostly this gear right here, with the addition of Blackmagics and GH4 for a while, things like that. But I'd say it's been worth it. So
yeah. But even when I left to Blackmagic, I came back to Sony.
Yeah. It's always been, feels like full circle with an upgrade.
It really is.
A little bit of outside the circle with the red.
It just can't get away from Sony because, well, not only we're just investing, but I mean, there's a reason why we're investing in it.
Yeah.
It's good. I like Sony.
Yeah. Love Sony. Great quality, great cameras, great glass. G Master, you really can't beat the G Master. It's fantastic glass, but
it's preference.
It's fantastic glass, not preference. That's fact. That's my fact.
Yeah, they are good glass. They're good glass. Yeah. Maybe you want something vintagey with character.
I think that wraps it up.
Well, if you made it to the end of this video, thanks for listening to this rant. And if you have any questions about anything we've had here, or any videos you want to see with this stuff, just let us know.
And if you have Emount, comment, because I want to know. I want to find the other Emount fanboys, fangirls.
That is something I'm curious about.
I want to know. Am I the only person that knows about Emount? I doubt it. No, where are you?
You probably are. All right.